Hi, my name is Rob, and this is my review of Cyborg number 1. Cyborg has come a long way. He was originally created by writer Mav Wolfman and artist George Perez back in 1980. Victor Stone was like any other regular African-American teenager his age, even though he had parents who worked at Star Labs. After a terrible series of events, Silas Stone gave his son experimental prosthetics to save his life. Victor had to deal with the consequences of being treated and looking different in the aftermath, and joining Teen Titans as a way to connect with his fellow outsiders. Cyborg became a mainstay on the Teen Titans team through multiple membership changes and often being regarded as a leader. Eventually, he became one of the oldest members of the team, and then a new 52 happened. After Flashpoint, DC rebooted their continuity, and one of the most significant changes was including Cyborg as a founding member of the Justice League. Cyborg being a member of the most powerful team, arguably in the universe of all time, was a giant step up for the character who had become regarded for not just his powers and abilities, but his intelligence as well. Fans, including myself, waited in anticipation for a presumed Cyborg solo title to follow. After all, every other main Justice League member had their own solo title, and some, including Batman and Superman, had multiple ones. Almost 4 years had gone by before fans finally got their wish with the announcement they were waiting for. A Cyborg monthly title by writer David Walker and artist Ivan Rice. After waiting so long, the issue is finally here. If you're not going to listen to anything else I say beyond this paragraph, do understand that the wait is well worth it. David Walker gets Victor Stone as a character, both in the role as a cyborg and a more personal level as a human being. Ivan Rice's art is fantastic, helping create the right tone for the title in these opening pages. It's a fantastic contrast seeing what's going on with Cyborg as being contrasted with what's going elsewhere in the universe. It's worth remembering, too, that Cyborg number 1 is not just the introduction post New 52 for Cyborg itself, but for the many fans, it's their first interaction with the character. It's important to keep this in mind while we see what Walker emphasizes about Cyborg and doesn't emphasize. The main plot of issue 1 revolves around his visit to his father at Star Labs in Detroit due to recent changes development with his body. Walker establishes a couple of things quickly, such as there being protests outside the labs and the tense relationship between father and son. In fact, the tense relationship between Silas and Victor is a focal point for issue number 1 and will certainly play a big role to come in future issues. Victor's mother being dead means Silas is Victor's only living parental figure, but Silas ignores Victor as a person and instead focuses on Victor as Cyborg. This attitude on Silas's part has at least very unconsciously affected his son, as we see Victor reference himself as more machine than human multiple times throughout the issue. Victor says things in narration such as, quote, more machine than man, greatest experiment in his career, and sees himself as a monster who would rather have any attention he long craves as opposed to no attention whatsoever. Although the focal point of the recent tension is Silas' attention towards Victor's technology, it's worth noting what Walker has done here. At the core of Cyborg number 1, it's a story of a son who just wants his father to care for him and craves his love as opposed to a scientific notice. Although it's a long-standing trope in literature, Walker does an excellent job of making it unique to the story and interesting at that. Issue 1 does an excellent job of not only establishing the relationship or lack thereof between Victor and his father, but between Victor and some others as well. Victor and his childhood friend Sarah, perhaps a future romantic interest, show a great deal of caring about one another. Sarah is the only person, including even Victor, in the issue to tell him, you're a human being, as opposed to treating him as if he's some sort of science experiment. Meanwhile, the other doctors who work with Silas or protesters outside Star Labs don't really see Victor as a person, but more of something that draws their attention for entirely other reasons. It's also interesting to see if Walker relate how Victor felt when his parents looked at him in his childhood as compared to now. The main subplot of issue 1 that's certainly to have major consequences for Victor and everyone else down the road is the techno-sapiens in a galaxy elsewhere getting a taste of the same technology that Victor uses. The techno-sapiens aren't going to be satisfied until they get Victor, which will certainly be coming to a head sooner rather than later. Walker also seems to lay the foundation for issues in the future surrounding Victor's technology. The protests at Star Labs and the confrontation that Victor dealt with certainly don't seem like the last words on the subject. It will be interesting to see if and when this comes back to future issues of Cyborg. Although Cyborg may not consider himself human. Artist Ivan Rice does a terrific job of creating some emotional moments throughout the issue. Rice's part helped create the mature cyborg that Walker seems to be going for, and at the same time showcasing unique parts of Cyborg's technology. Cyborg's sad smile when Sarah confronts the others about ignoring Victor speaks volumes more than the pages of dialogue could have. It's the kind of smile that he's gotten used to it, so it's not really a big deal to him, and that one moment says a lot about his own situation. The more human parts of the issue are wonderfully contrasted by Rice with the brutality of Techno-Sapiens. Their designs are terrifying and actually remind me a great deal of the Xenomorphs from Alien. Rice did an excellent job crafting a design for terrifying villains previously in Aquaman, and does the job here as well. So, some final thoughts. Cyborg number 1 isn't just a big step for diversity in comics, but it also makes for a terrific character piece. Walker and Rice strike the right balance with Victor Stone in the first issue and look to be started something special here. Walker gets Cyborg, and that gives me a great deal of faith in future issues looking ahead. Cyborg has all the pieces to make big waves of the title for DC Comics, and here's hoping the fans will respond in kind. After waiting over 30 years, we finally got our Cyborg solo title. I would give Cyborg number 1 a 9 out of 10. But that's just my opinion. What did you think of Cyborg number 1? Comment below and let me know what you think, and please don't forget to subscribe.